I topped mine off with some cayenne pepper and a little bit of chives for garnish. I did leave the kids plain, but let's go ahead and dive in and taste this and see what it tastes like. That is delicious. Welcome back to the mini farm. I just made a less than 10-minute quick, easy mac and cheese that is way better than anything you're gonna get from a box, and it's a lot faster and easier. So if you want to see how I made this mac and cheese, stick around. But first, please give this video a thumbs up if you like videos like this, and click the red subscribe button below if you haven't done so already. Without further ado, let's make easier than a box mac and cheese. For this recipe, you're going to need cheese, noodles. I'm using kind of like a macaroni noodle, some bouillon, heavy cream, milk, flour, butter, and then salt and pepper to taste, and boiling water for the noodles. You're also going to need smoked paprika, just a little bit. Check the info box below for the full list of ingredients. Okay, before I put in the noodles, I'm going to salt my water really, really well. This is going to be a great way to flavor our noodles. And for us, I'm only going to use half this package. I'm going to pinch the package straight in half, and that's kind of eyeballing, knowing that's how much I'm going to put in there. I'm only going to put in half the bag. As soon as you drop it in there, kind of give it a quick stir to make sure they're not clumped up together. Cover it up so it can come back to a boil quickly. That came up to a boil really quick. It took less than a minute for that. While that's boiling away, set the timer for the pasta. This pasta cooks in 10 minutes. Since it's already been in there for a minute, I'm gonna set it for 9 minutes. And then you'll see it started on that sauce. For the sauce, you're going to melt the butter and let that cook the flour while it's doing it. Kind of whisk them together. I have it on high heat right now. I am going to turn it down. Let's do medium-high heat just to melt the butter and toast the flour in the pot. Let that toast for about a minute. If you only have milk for this recipe, milk will work just fine. If you want to use heavy cream and some chicken stock, that also works fine. So in this case, if I just had heavy cream and chicken stock, I would use the chicken stock to start my cream sauce, and then I would add the heavy cream at the end. For this one, I'm going to do milk. Turn it back up to high. Whisk that in so you don't get any lumps, and while that's coming up to temperature, let's add in our bouillon. This is my favorite bouillon to use. And I scoop into the jar with the back of the spoon and dissolve it that way, because otherwise it kind of sticks to the spoon. It's easier to dissolve using the back of the spoon. I added 2 teaspoons in here of that bouillon. If you're using powdered bouillon, the same amount would be good, 2 teaspoons. And then you can taste your mixture and see if it's flavorful enough for you. Alright, it's starting to simmer away in there. It's getting nice and creamy. Okay, turn it down to low. And then I'm going to add my cheese a little at a time so it can melt. I'm going to evenly distribute it. And then pour the rest in. All right, this is definitely too hot. I'm going to turn my heat completely off. I no longer need the heat. There's enough heat in my pan to melt this cheese. You don't want to have heat on underneath your cheese after you added cheese because it will turn grainy. And so I'm kind of actually going to move it off a little bit more. I'll move you here. And this looks really, really good. I'm going to cool it off a little bit by adding some heavy cream, salt, and pepper. Okay, I'm gonna put this back on and wait for my timer to go off. So at this point, this only took us about 6 minutes to do. So most of the time we're waiting on is just boiling the noodles. You can taste your sauce at this point. Be careful, it is hot still. And if you feel like you need to add anything, this is the time to add it. I am going to add some salt. And some pepper. If you're making this for adults, cayenne pepper would be very nice in here. Or if you want to make it a little bit more yellow, if your kids really like yellow mac and cheese, add turmeric. It'll make it nice and bright yellow, and it's actually healthy for you. I also like mine with a little bit of smokiness to it. It kind of completes the depth of the flavor. So I add a little bit of smoked paprika. If you're doing this for kids that like kind of blander, more of a crafty mac and cheese, I probably would skip this step. If you're doing this for adults, I would probably up a little bit of this in here. Okay, I'll be back in about 2 minutes when the pasta's done. My timer just went off. Let's taste this guy, make sure he's good. And that's perfect. Okay, you can drain this real quick if you want. I usually just use a frying strainer and add them right into the cheese. Make sure you really drain it well. Okay. And then just toss your, turn you here a little bit. Just toss it together. We have the cheesiest mac and cheese kids will love. At this point, if you want, you can put it in a casserole dish and just bake it for a little bit. Put some breadcrumbs on top or some panko. It'd be great with it and give it a nice crispy top. But I'm just gonna give it to the kids like this. Give it a taste here. Ooh, that's hot. That's perfect.
Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you have other ideas for recipes, leave them in the comments below, and if I make that recipe, I'll give you a shout out and post your comment in my next video. I'll leave a few other videos up here for you to enjoy, and if you haven't done so already, you can click on my face to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye!